Payments?
No.
There's
Online?
yeah, it'll all be online. That's another thing. We will not be collecting money. It'll all be online, so you can pay with a debit card or any form of payment electronically. The link is in the email outlining all of everything that pertains to the trip. The schedule is very high level. There'll be a very more specific schedule to come. And then that'll be it. So not next week we will have a meeting, but the following week on the 30th. Yeah, 30th. Okay. We will not be having a meeting on the 30th. So we will have one next week with a presentation. But without further ado, today Sarah will be presenting on HCM.
All right. So I guess a couple things to know about HCM before getting into this. The way it's taught during the short 10 is your very last day, and you only have about 2-3 hours that you actually learn this stuff. So frankly, a lot of people do really bad with this section because you're so brain dead at that point. You've taken in so much information. So if you can kind of get a good idea of just the general concepts before you get into it, you'll be feeling a lot better on this topic, and you'll be able to do pretty well. HCM is also a little weird compared to some of the other modules, so we'll kind of cover why it's weird later. So for the agenda today, we'll be talking over the general process that HCM covers, the 3 structures of it, info types, qualifications, and requirements, and the employee self-services and our self-service module parts of HCM. And then I made a couple review questions like usual. So there are 9 HCM processes that are covered. So we have organizational management, SAP recruiting, personnel management, personnel development, training and event management, time management, performance management, payroll, and personal cost planning. Those are just the 9 things. So to get into the structures, this is part of where HCM gets a little weird because all the other ones we've been talking about, you have one structure. HCM, we have 3 that you have to worry about. So I'll start over with the enterprise structure. So we have the client, like we normally do, top level, independent legal and organizational unit. And then next we'll have our company code, so that's that full legal set of books, the accounting books there. And then next, their new thing is the personnel area. So this is basically an organizational unit in the personnel administration part, which was one of those processes that I just mentioned. The personnel area is responsible for 3 things, and you can kind of remember them through the acronym of RAD. So we'll have reporting criteria, authorizations for different transactions, and then defaults, which are just the go-to values, I guess you would say, for if nothing's inputted. And so after the personnel area, we'll have a personnel sub-area. This is where most of the functionality happens. This is, it impacts payroll, your wage types, planned working times, appraisal criteria. And a good way to kind of visualize, I guess, what these 2 things are, you can kind of imagine a company where maybe they set their company code to take over, say, the entire United States of their branch. So underneath that, maybe they want to divide their company, or how they view the people up into different areas. So maybe the personnel area would be Michigan, for example. And then the personnel sub-areas can often be seen as little different departments. So we can have like sales, or production, things like that could fall into the sub-area. Those aren't necessarily how a company has to do it, but that's a pretty typical way of how you can do things. So then next we have the personnel structure, which is a little confusing because the personnel structure has nothing to do with the personnel area at all. So first of all, we have our employee group. Just like the personnel area, we have the RAD, again, the reporting criteria, authorizations, and defaults. And then under that, it calls the employee subgroup. So employee groups will often be things like active employees or inactive employees, things like that. So then if you have an active employee, some of the subgroups you could have could be hourly, salary, trainee even. So the personnel subgroup, or the employee subgroup, has a lot of different functionalities. It will define your payroll procedures. groups, define wage types, and generate the default pay payroll area, which is this guy who kind of doesn't belong to anything specifically, but the employee subgroup will basically control what payroll area you fall into. The payroll area deals with frequency of how often you get paid. So it can kind of lump everyone together who gets paid at the same time. So maybe this employee subgroup will have the hourly workers and they're paid twice a week. The payroll area, this will drive what payroll area they are, and then you can determine basically that they get paid every 2 weeks, if that makes sense. So lastly, for our structures, we have the organizational structure. And a fun way to remember this is SPOC, which might not be too helpful for some people since it doesn't, the letters match up with how the names in German, so it's not always great. But S stands for position, P stands for person, O for org unit, C for job, and K for cost center. So basically, we'll have our positions, which are your individual employee assignments. That's generally speaking, they'll be filled by one person, but you can have multiple people assigned to the same position. And in that case, if you have basically this term called a full-time equivalent, so you can have two people, maybe one person works 40% of this position, the other person works 60%. These two people equal a full-time equivalent. So then we have our person. These are objects that hold positions. Basically, we hire people into positions. Then we have org units, which describe various business units. And the jobs are completely optional in the system, but they basically describe what the position is. They are unique classifications of responsibilities. And then lastly, we have our cost centers, which we went over in controlling, and these can be assigned to either org units or positions. So to kind of illustrate how an org structure works, I kind of just drew what something in a company could possibly look like. So say we have Penny, which most of us are familiar with. That would be the org unit. And then assigned to that, we'll have this position of CEO. And then we hire in the person, I think you're Taylor, to the position of CEO. So then another thing we have lower here, we have the cost center, which I assigned over to the org unit. But you could also have assigned it over to this position instead if you wanted to. Do you have any questions on any of these new structures before I go on? Alright. So next we're going to move on to info types. This is another thing that makes HCM a little odd, because info types basically are what's used to describe what the people are. All the data about the people are stored in the info types. Similarly to master data of the other ones, we have master data in sales, production, all these other ones. The data is all stored in what's called views. Info types can more or less be seen as the same thing as a view. So they're logical groupings of data fields. Something you can have multiple subtypes of the same info type. So an example for that would be if you are listing all the family members of a person, you could have multiple subtypes in the same info type. So info type 21 here, if you were to assign different family members and look at it, you can see kind of different screens for each family member, but it's still considered under info type 21. It's a little confusing, but that makes sense. Next we have, there's 3 different ways to process info types. It just means this is how we're filling the data in the info types, more or less. So you can do single screen, which means you're just taking one info type and just one person, and you're just filling out the information for that single field, or a single screen, basically. And then personnel actions is a sequence of info types and one personnel number. So for that, it can be seen when you hire a person, all of the info types for that specific action are kind of lumped together. So when you go through, you'll see, when you go through the hiring process, you go through and save multiple info types for one person at a time. And then we'll have fast entry, which is you will type in one info type from multiple different personnel numbers. Does that make sense to you guys? 'Cause I can also visually show you the personnel actions if that helps in the system. You guys want to see that? All right. I'll bring it up on my laptop. All right, so say we're gonna hire someone today. So all of these here you're seeing, these are different action types that you can do, and each one will contain its own separate, distinct set of info types that you have to fill out for it. So for this, we're just gonna show you how to hire someone. I'm going to log back in, and then we're gonna show you how to hire someone. Find a random position I can hire them into. That looks like a good one. So then we'll have to assign to it its own personnel area, which is from the enterprise structure, your employee group. So you can see here we have all these different kinds that you can pick from. So this one's going to be an active person. And subgroup, we will make them an hourly worker. So now I'm going to save that, and over to the personal data tab, and this is another different info type that we'll fill out. So we'll say, we'll make her Daisy Duck. So you don't have to fill out all the information on this screen, but you can go back in and fill it out later too if you want to. So when I hit save, that basically just created an info type right there. So I can, every time I'm hitting save on this, it's a new info type. So we'll assign her to a sub area, which those personnel sub areas, like I was saying, the system set up so they are all different areas, different departments basically. So I think just assign a sales guy to or something like that. So we'll put her in the sales sub area. Save info type is just me. And that's kind of how it just goes on for now. We can go through and fill out more information, but I think you guys can get the point from this. All right. So now we have this idea of qualifications versus requirements. So requirements are basically looking at a position and saying, what does a person need to be able to do this job? What are we absolutely requiring for this position? So maybe you're hiring someone for a plant and they need to have some safety class taken. And that would be a requirement for this job. Your requirement is to take this safety class. So qualifications then are similar to requirements, but they're specifically for employees. That'll be looking at what does this person actually have? What are the skills, experience, and abilities that that person currently possesses. So if we're going to be doing hiring for someone, we can do this thing called profile matchup. So that basically means that we look at the requirements of the position, look at the qualifications of the person, kind of compare them to each other and see, well, is this person someone that we can hire? So then we have employee self-services. This is an SAP-made program, and I think a good point to mention for this is when you're taking the TERP 10, when talking about SAP themselves, you have to remember basically the TERP 10 is written by SAP, so they're not going to ask you questions where that makes them look bad. So if they were to ask you a question on employee self-services, and one of them is this negative sounding thing, probably not the right answer because SAP wants to make themselves look really good. So employee self-services, I don't know if any of you have ever had the opportunity to use it in different companies you've worked for. I know I have. But it will allow employees to basically fill in information for themselves, and so you can search the who's who, review the calendar, check workflow work items, submit travel expenses, enter work times, and enroll for benefits. The advantages for this, one of the biggest ones, definitely this last one, the reduced HR workload. It helps basically allow the employee to do things themselves, so HR doesn't have to sit, you don't have to go every time you move and call HR and be like, I need you guys to update my address again. Instead, HR can just, or you can just fill it in for yourselves. So other advantages are you have more well-informed employee decisions, reduced administrative costs, shorter process cycle times, and accurate employee records. And last, we have manager self-service. Similar to the employee one, but this is something that just managers would be using. So you can do in here employee reviews, change requests, monitoring, reporting, recruitment, compensation planning, and quota planning. All right, so do we have any questions? Yeah.
So if somebody gets fired, do you have to go through and delete all their information? Or?
You wouldn't delete it. You'd actually do one of those personnel actions, just like I was showing you before. There's one for firing as well. I've never actually done it, so I don't really want to show you how to do it. But it's basically the same thing. You just change the info types, and it would probably change that employee group from active to inactive. Anything else? All right, I'm going to go to my review questions then. So, which of the following is true about a position? Are they part of the personnel structure? Are they typically filled by one person? Can they be held by one person? The positions are individual employee assignments. We might have more than one answer too. I didn't tell you.
A and C.
Not A. Not A. Everything else. So, the positions are in this organizational unit part of it. That's why that first one's wrong. Remember, the personnel structure is only employee group, employee subgroup, and the payroll area. So all of the following are features of the employee subgroup except it defines payroll procedures, defines wage types, defines organizational unit until the employee is assigned to, or generates the default payroll area. Guesses? Let's see. And I'm going to realize that I wrote this question wrong. I meant to not put the except there, so the answer is flip-flopped. But the answer is C. The employee group subgroup does define the payroll procedures, defines the wage types, and generates default payroll area. Defining the organizational unit that they're assigned to, that would be done through the organizational structure part of it. So organizational structure has nothing to do with the employee group area. If that makes sense. So what's the true statements regarding info types? Info types can be maintained through personnel actions. Employee can never have more than one of the same info types. It is possible for an employee to have no info types filled out. And info types are logical groupings of data fields.
ABD.
Almost.
D&D.
Getting a little worse. It's just A and D. So one of the personnel actions was what I was showing you earlier with how we went through and hired the person. So that's how you can maintain. It's one of the 3 ways you can maintain an info type. You can have more than one of the same info types. You'll have different subtypes basically for each one. But that's going back to the idea of if you're listing a person's dependents, their family members, You'll have them for their husband, you'll have them for their child, you'll have them for their other child. And then it's not possible for someone to have no info types at all. You need at least one. You just need at least their basic information in the system, otherwise you won't have any record that this person exists. And then info types are a lot of groupings of data fields. That's just the definition of what an info type is. So what occurs during a profound matchup? And that is right. So remember, qualifications, people, requirements, position. Always just kind of think that those two pairings together, basically. And so our last question: what can a cost center be assigned to? One more. B&E. Yep. So that goes back to this whole idea of which structure does this thing belong to. Cost center belongs only to the organizational unit, so you can automatically really eliminate the payroll area, the employee group, and the personnel area, because those all belong over here to these other structures, not to the organizational structure. That's my last question for you guys. Do you have any other questions?
Let me pull it up real quick. It'll take a minute here. Now, we talked briefly about the processing key for the MRP, which is there we go. There's the net change, the planning horizon, net change planning on the horizon, net change planning on the planning horizon, and regenerative planning. Regenerative planning occurs only very rarely. When a plant first opens up, regenerative planning, it plans for all materials across the whole plant. Net change planning on the horizon is for the all foreseeable future, all orders in the foreseeable future. So if you have sales orders going out for the rest of the year, you're planning for MRP to buy those materials for all of those orders throughout the whole entire year as far as your sales orders go. The net change of the planning horizon is for a set period of time. If you're a company that can produce materials very quickly on a daily basis, you don't want to plan for a whole year's sales order when you can just keep a small amount of inventory on hand and keep reordering, allowing you to keep low inventory costs and meet all your sales orders on time. So you set your planning horizon based on your own business's requirements. So if you're a pen company and you maybe have a bi-monthly planning horizon, 15 days or so, so your reorder point only looks for 15 days in advance. It would only look for your planning horizon, which is set for 15 days in advance. So any sales orders that need to be filled in that amount of time, that's what MRP is ran for, and it ignores sales orders that are in the future because you don't care about them until you get closer to that date. That allows a business to keep a low inventory in hand while maintaining the inventory required to meet all sales orders in the planning horizon. And again, the planning horizon is set by a business, which can be very different from each company to company. Any questions on that? I did not really go too in depth on that when I first explained. I wanted to reiterate. Well, thank you very much. If you have any questions that you would like us to answer about SAP or anything we've covered in the TERP 10 so far, topics that you would like some more detail, please feel free to ask. We'd love to. If we don't know the answer, we'll go find it for you. Any topics that you'd like to hear specifically, we'll look it up and we'll get it to you as well. And any other questions at all, we'll be here after meeting for a little bit to answer them. And have a wonderful evening. And good hand, Sarah, for the great presentation.